yesterday we have spoke about that what is the web technology and its application, right? And we have seen the basic HTML, right? So the question is there, how the web works. So we should know a little bit introduction about the web, and then further with the your designing web pages with help of HTML, CSS, and everything will come. Okay. So what is the objective? We have first we should know the definition and history. Okay. And then you'll be talking about the client server model. Hope many of you know that what is the client server model. Then we'll be talking about what is the domain name system. Okay. And we'll be seeing about what is the URL. What you type anything in the website, to open any website, you will be typing www.google.com. So that is you are entering into the URL, that is called as URL. Okay, so that full form is Uniform Resource Locators. And with that, again, hypertext protocol, that is the HTTP. And then about the web server. So what is the web server and how it will be used? So we'll be talking about this. So let's see about the definition and history. And for more details, if you want to grab more information, you can just refer the textbooks and reference book. You will get more idea. You can search on the internet also. So internet, you know very well. So when we talk about the internet, is it internet is equal to web? Obviously, the answer will be no. Why? Because web, it's like when you talk about the web, it is the part of the internet. Okay, so the internet is the whole area where it will cover your entire things, whatever you do on the mobile. You are using WhatsApp, you are playing online games, you are using your email system, you have your certain website. So this all portion, whatever you're seeing, so it comes into the internet. So it is not the internet. Web is one of the part of internet. So what is the web? So generally we say that triple W, we pronounce as a triple W. So it's nothing is World Wide Web. And also we generally now pronounce like this a web. Okay, so we would, generally people will not call okay triple W. So it's look little awkward. So people will call as it's a web. So what is the triple W? That is the World Wide Web. So World Wide Web, it is certainly what most people think of when they see the world, that is the word internet. So when you see the internet, they will say, yeah, this is the web. Internet means web. So it's not like that. So triple W is the only a subset of internet, as I mentioned. So Tim Berners-Lee, he is the inventor actually for the triple W in 1990s. So hope you all know very well about this, and that was the first system was developed. The first when he made the HTML for the web, so he want to transfer some file. So he that time that he invented. So the person name is Tim Berners-Lee. Okay, so along with his friends, and he published in 1990 as a hypertext system where he was working like in CRN in Switzerland. He is the inventor who invented the triple W, that is the hypertext system. Then what are the core features of the web? What you have in the core feature when we talk about the web? Okay, so shortly after the initial proposal by the Tim Berners-Lee, he developed a few features for the web. So what are the features are available for the web? The first point that is mentioned as a URL. So URL, it's a unique identify a resource on triple W. Why it is called as unique identify? And you all know very well on the machine everything we enter as a binary system, right? So every URL will be having like 192.168.1.1. So in the IP address. So generally people will not remember this. So that's why he specified the URL where it will be a unique name. So you can easily use that resource on World Wide Web. And the next you have something like this is your hypertext protocol, HTTP protocol. So that will give you the request and response, how it will be operated. Might be you have not seen, just you want to try this. There is something command called tracert. Okay, so tracert any domain name. Okay, so when you run the tracert command in your command prompt, so what will happen, you can see that your request, how it is going to the server, and there it will go to the request and it again response will come back. So even usually when you type in Google something, you are going to enter, okay, web www. So when you type, you will see the in fraction of second the result appeared. It's not like that result is appearing. No, okay, so there is this request and response methods are there. So when you are giving the request, this will be submitted to the server. That means where this main resource is available. So the request will go there and then it will search accordingly and then it will give you back response. So that's why we use the HTTP protocol. Then further with that, we need a software program. So which was called later on web server. Because why web server required? Because you have certain content which need to be displayed remotely. That means from one location to other location. Then how that will be accessible outside for the other people. So for that purpose, there was software developed, and that software program was called as web server. So you all know very many web servers are there. Like in your Windows, you'll be having IIS, Internet Information Server services. Okay, then you are using the Tomcat server. You have so many other server are the Apache is there also. So you'll be using these services. Just 1 minute, guys. C, C++, Java. For that you were using the different kind of like compiler. The similar way here you can say that the compiler is nothing, it's your browser. So any HTML based programming that you are going to execute with help of a browser. You use any browser, Google Chrome, Mozilla, Microsoft Edge. So whatever XYZ on every browser it will run. So what happens when you are running this programs, what happens, HTTP request will go from the URL and it will display the result as you are searching anything. You open the google.com, the result is displaying. That means it is going to response and then it is giving the result. So these are the core features of the web. Okay, so now this is the basic about the web server. Okay, as I said, right, generally, so this is the client. That means this is me or you, whatever XYZ person. So what you do with help of your laptop, desktop, your mobile, whatever so on the devices, you'll be typing the URL. That means on the browser you are typing HTTP or HTTPS, some request you'll be giving, right? So the moment you enter, so what will happen, it will go through the World Wide Web. Okay, so it will go to the HTTP request. So first request will go. So request, how it is going? It is going with help of through the medium web, World Wide Web, and the request it will go and search and which web server this request has to go. So it will automatically go to this web server and it will fetch that, okay, these details are available here. So once details, obviously the in server, all the details will be there. So either you have the Google server you take Amazon server. So whatever, every company there will be the server is there. So it's when you discuss about the SEO, then you will get to know that how this even they find this, okay, this request goes to which server. That in digital marketing you will get to know in more depth. Okay, so just you know this here. So what happened now in the server, if you suppose you have search download movies, so request will come in this server, it will search, okay, these are the details, and once it fetch, it will give the response to the browser. Yes, this is the result, and you will be happy. Yes, I got the result. So this is your actually web server. This is how the web server works. So the request will go to the backend, and from the backend, the response will come to the fronted again. So that is your browser only. So you will be getting the result on your browser. The next about the static websites. Okay, so when you are going to develop any kind of website, when the people say that yes, I have to develop a website, there is the question that what kind of website you need. It's a static you want, or you want a dynamic. So static means it contains a static HTML and CSS pages, even with help of JavaScript or jQuery. In dynamic website, it will be there something where the users can log in and they can change the content. That is called as your dynamic website. Okay, so any framework you are going to use for the dynamic website. Okay, so for a static, just you remember it is the only with contents of HTML and CSS or JavaScript and jQueries. Okay, so in the early days, what happened when the starting days when web was invented? So what happened, they started with the very few document to display. So further with that, they came with the like creating the website, and they need to make the website. So what happened, they started using as per the HTML markup language, and where you can add the image, you can add your content, so graphical pictures you can insert. So these are the things will be available into your with help of HTML. Okay, and once you make this, that means it will create a static website. Okay, so that is called as the type of this website will refer as static, because you are just using the some content, some images, okay, some information, some textual content, some images. So this kind of it will be referred, this kind of website will be referred as a static website. So in that, it will consist only HTML pages that looks identical for all users at all time. Okay, so content will be visible, right, to all the users. So this is called as your static website. Okay, so further with the static website. Okay, so how first the moment I want to see the some vacation.html, so whatever you will be typing, right? So where you will type, obviously you will use the browser, right? So the moment you type, what happen, it will go to the server, right? So on the server, what will happen, you will retrieve all the file from hard drive, right? So that in every machine there will be hard disk, right? So that all the information is getting in for stored. So either it's your vacation.html, either your picture, either some text documents. So whatever the information is there, that all will be available in the server. So once it's retrieved the details, yes, the person is looking the particular file. So what will happen, it will send this file, okay, to the HTML browser, and when you send, the result will display on the browser. So this is your static website. So just it's a HTML page with some content information and with the some pictures. Okay, so that will display it here. Okay, so when we talk about the dynamic website, okay, so when we talk about the dynamic website, so dynamic website with the invention, when invention happened with the web, and sites began to get more complicated. So why we have used the complicated? Because as you make login system, right, you are seeing the Facebook, right? So it's kind of social media, but also it's a website only, where you have all the complication is there, like users has to register, security, everything you have to see that. So writing the server side scripting, and there are a lot of things are there need to be done. So those kind has made into the dynamic website, and then the people started building dynamic sites, and that will also run on the web server only, and it will generate the content dynamically, right? You have seen that, right? When you log into the Facebook, so whoever the friends are there in your list, so their post automatically it will dynamically start coming. So how it is happening? So it's not like only the static page, it's a dynamic page where the content will appear based on the user performance, right? So how the user is keep frequently updating, so the details is changing, keep updating. So that kind of website will be called a dynamic website. And also another part, if you take like you make a website where you want to edit the content. Suppose you have displayed, this is my program, I want to change this. So how will change this page in a static? You have to download that entire page, you have to edit, again you have to upload in the server, and then it will appear for the users. But in dynamic website, what will happen, the users will be having one login system. Obviously that means complicated, that means you are making a login system. Once login, they will be having an interface there, they will be seeing that okay, this is my paragraph, I have to edit here, edit, save, it will automatically publish on the web with help of your web server. So that is your dynamic website. The same way, it is a dynamic website. The moment you type, so you can see that the dynamic website generally will be used vacation.php. You can see the extension has changed now, index.html. But you will see, sir, you will be having the question that nowadays we are not seeing .html or .php in most of the website, because that is another techniques that is called as permalinks. So if you use the permalink, you can overwrite this extension however you want. Okay, so but for dynamic, definitely there will be the PHP script. Okay, that is the server side scripting. If you are using PHP, it will be PHP. If you are using ASP.NET, then .aspx will be there. Okay, so like this it will be. If you are using Java, then it will be .jsp. Okay, so like this it will be there, and you are entering the similar way in the browser. It will go to the server. Okay, and server on the server, obviously all the files are there. So it will search what the person is looking for that. So that script will generate and it will execute on the PHP file. Then that will convert into the HTML file, and then it will be given to the server, will send this HTML file, generated HTML file, to the browser. Okay, so this will be appear on the browser and you can see the result, right? Another example I'll give you that recently you all have filled the form, right, on the VTU portal for your examination, right? You have logged in, you have entered the details, it has submitted, verified. After that, so result you are getting in PDF format, right? So that is your generated PDF format. So same thing happens. So once you request, your details has been submitted, so the script will generate what you want. Okay, the users that is your hall ticket, so it will the PHP code. Okay, server will execute, or they will interrupt the script if it is wrong. Then what happen, it will generate in the form of HTML only, and again you are seeing the result into the web browser in form of HTML. So whatever the image or what the content there is, right? So you were able to download your hall ticket. So that is your dynamic website. So where keep every users having different changes. Okay, so these are the about dynamic website. Okay, so now we'll talk about your client server model. Okay, so the client server model is nothing like our machine, whatever we are using, that laptop or computer, it can be treated as a client as well as server also. So generally when we search anything on the browser, on internet, so we are as a client, and server where the content will be there. Okay, so when we talk about the client server model, what is that? Then the web is sometimes referred to as a client server model of communication. So for communication, okay, so we are communicating from clients to server. Okay, so this client server model will be having two things, that is, one is the client and one is the server, as I said, right? So what is the server? Server is a computer agent that normally active 24 hours a day, 7 day a week. That means generally we can say it is a 24/7, it should be available. That means your computer, your machine should be online. That means it should be running continuously. If it will shut down, then obviously your service will be not provided from the particular machine. So might be you have seen that sometimes the website is down, right? It will be not working. That means their server is down, their machine is not working. Okay, so that's what any request whenever you give, obviously that request will be not responding. So that's why how we are getting the response, because the machine is running 24/7. You have seen also in video, right? The result, they will give the time, right? From 6 o'clock to this time it will be not available, right? Because their services will be down, that machine will be down, it will be not on. So obviously it will not give you any response. So that is your server. And the client is the computer agent. That is, this is also one of the agent where you are requesting and getting the response from the server. So in the form of, so whatever you are using, the code, image, text, any kind of data, whatever it is getting displayed to on your browser, that is considered as a client. Okay, so request response loop, as I said, right? So what is the request response loop? So within the client server model, the request response loop is the most basic mechanism on the server for receiving request and transmitting data in response. That means in this client response loop, so there is a mechanism when the client is requesting any request, that request should go and search into the server. So why we have mentioned as a loop? Because see, some certain content will be there, right? That need to be searched on the server. So when it goes to the server, it's like immediately it will pull out. It will search. So it will go in the loop. So where that content is there, the moment it get the content, it will transmit the data into the response. So the client initiate the request to the server and get the response that could be included in the some resources like HTML file, image, others. So as already I have explained you all, like this is the client machine, you are giving request, it will search, again it will response, again you search, again it will response. So this continuously loop will be having whenever you are giving request and response. Whenever your request will be there, obviously there will be a response from the server side also. So this is your request response loop. Then we talk about the domain name system. So what is the domain name system? When we talk about the domain name, DNS, right? So whenever you talk about the DNS, the DNS is the backbone of any web system, right? So without this DNS, no website will run. There will be the DNS for every domain, whatever you are opening, google.com, or you open our website, even you are opening uacademy.com, anywhere. So that domain name system will exist. So when you I'll explain you that when you register a domain, okay, so when you buy a domain from any provider, so by default the domain control, the DNS system will be available with the domain provider. So there you are going to change the path, that means where you want to redirect, where you want to host. So you will be changing in DNS. The moment you change the DNS, reflection time will be there, and it will reflect to the web, and you will be able to see any website. So generally whenever you have any server, okay, as we are talking about, right, when you want to run the application, right, so by default these are the port which is default available on any server, and this will obviously it will be the TCP IP will be available. So what happen, any file transfer you want, so that will be using port 21. If you want port 22, that is SSH access, that means you want to access any Linux based operating system from remotely, you should have the SSH enabled. So that is port will be 22. Even you can change the port, this port is not like fixed, but by default on the web this is the default port. So 21, 22 and 25 and 110 they will be using for email system, right? Even we have something 5, 6, 7, 8 also, 568 also for Google SMT. So SMTP will be changing from the organization. It's vary. This is not only fixed that they'll be using. So this is for local. So on local machine, that port number 25 will be your SMTP, and for POP it will be 110. Then when you are running the website, any kind of web application, okay, so that web application will be available on the port 80. That port 80 should be enabled. If your port 80 is not enabled, that means none service will be available outside from your machine. And port 443, it will give you for HTTPS, the same content but with the HTTPS. Then when we talk about the IP, right, internet protocol. So internet users generally, that is, uses the internet protocol IP, that is the address, to identify the destination on the internet. So as I mentioned, right, so on internet, right, there will be the address, that is the URL. So what that internet protocol address will be, it is in numbers, but always we cannot remember those numbers, right? So that will be used as a address. So the moment you enter, so particular website will be open. So each device which is connected to the internet will be having a IP address. Even your mobile phone, right, you have Jio, Airtel, Vodafone, whatever the services you are using, every mobile company, whenever you use internet, there will be IP address. Okay, so mostly in Jio they are using IPv6, and other provider they will be giving IPv4. In that also there is a version IPv4 and IPv6, but definitely there will be IP. So what is that IP? That is, IP is nothing, it's a numeric code, that is the uniquely identification for the particular server. Then only the particular request will be transferred to the server. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, we have two types of IP address, that is the IPv4 and IPv6. And IPv4, generally you know that, right, you have already studied into the TCP IP and even computer network, right? So IPv4 address, you have 32 bits, like 192, 168, 123, 254, like this something. Okay, and IPv6, it will be something into the 128 bits, it will be there. Okay, so to the power 128 address. Okay, so this how, and I'll show you that how you can find out even the IP address of any particular website. Okay, so there is two way, either you can use into the command prompt, okay, or you can use on the browser, you can search what is my IP address or something like that. I'll show you that. So just go to run and type cmd. If you are aware, it's very good. If you are not aware, I'll tell you. Okay, so what you do, just ping Google website. So there is something called as ping google.com. okay, I'll give -t because time instant will be there, so continuously it will give result, or I will remove. So just you give this, so you can see, right, 172, so 172, 217, 163, 78. This is the IP address of Google. So from where the Google they are running the services, this is the IP address of Google. If you see that similarly, ping facebook.com, you will see the result. See, the Facebook is running from, you can see the IP address is changed now, 157, 240, 23, 25. Okay, so let me just, I'll copy this, come to the browser, I'll paste this IP address. See what happened? The moment I paste this IP address, the Google website is opening, right? The moment you paste this Facebook IP address, right? And now paste this IP address. So see the Facebook getting open. So this is the things, is the IP address. It's just redirected on this URL. Okay. So like this you can find out the IP address of any of the website. Okay. So even you can see that ping uacademy.com. Okay, you can see that 62128. Okay, so this is the IP address of, you can see that information also, how many packet has sent, how many packet is received, total lost. Okay, approximate round trip times, that means the moment request went and response has come, it is minimum is 152 millisecond, maximum is 177 millisecond, and average 164 millisecond is the duration for this round trip, that means request and response. And mostly if you check your geo device, probably it will be your IPv6. Okay, so next we have something domain name system. Okay, so domain name system is like, as I said, right, DNS. That means whatever the IP address you have, right, always it will be very difficult to remember and just type IP address and open any website. So instead of IP address, you are going to use the domain name system. That means there will be some name for the particular IP. So you can easily recall and you can open the website. So this is your DNS overview. Okay, so the DNS overview, that is the users. So when anyone open any website, okay, what will happen? As I said, right, so it first, what happen, it will go to the server, or there will be a DNS. So the moment you type, what happen, it will go to the IP address. The moment you type any google.com, it will go to the IP address and search this domain name server where it exists. So it will search from the domain name server. Okay, and the moment it search, it will give you, yes, the IP address of this domain name, that is the funwebdev.com is 66. So what happened, this response will come, and again this will go to the particular server. Okay, which server they have. So the server is this one. So this server, it will give the result, and whatever the response will be there, it will given back to the users. That is your DNS overview. Okay, so the domain level, when we open any website, okay, google.com, www.google.com, then you have seen right, some it will be added into the before that. Okay, so there is something called as domain level. Okay, so what will happen in domain level, there will be, see, suppose this is www.facebook.com, www.google.com. So we uses exactly. Okay, so this is your www, it is the third level domain. So generally your top level domain, it's your extension .com. Whatever you are using .com, that is your top level domain. It is called as TLD. So whatever TLD means whatever the extension you have, like .com, .in, .net, .org, even so many are there. Okay, so you can just search TLD, you will get to know that. So these are the top level domain. So .com. After top level domain, it will go to the secondary level domain. So secondary level domain, that means we are deciding this will be fixed, that is the top level domain will be fixed, this cannot be changed, this we are going to decide and going to buy this. So it will be fun, whatever the name, so that will be called as your second level domain. And then you'll be having third level domain. So early days we used a www also with this, but now the policy has changed, they have rules as upgraded. This is also considered as a subdomain, that is it is called as www as a subdomain. So this is a third level domain. And fourth level, that means if you use any like subdomain, if you want like sub part of this server, then you can add dot before that. So that will be considered as a fourth level domain. Even if you want, you can add further also. So the top level domain is your .com, then your secondary level domain, this third level, fourth level. So it obviously this category will go from top to down. That means from top level to it will go to the fourth level, and this how the domain will be there. Okay, so when we talk about URL, so URL is nothing, as I said, right? You are using the protocol HTTP or HTTPS with your domain name. Then you are using the path, that means what is the file name. If you are giving any query string, like if page is equal to 17 hash articles, so this is your all the query. So which page you are going to visit if you are particularly. So path index.php, about us.php, contact.php. So this will be called as your URL, uniform resource locator. So the client will giving the request, open this domain, and it will take you to the result. The query string can be anything, right? So you have seen, right, when you are submitting database query, right, you are just writing DB query, and you're writing, okay, if username is equal to this and password is equal to this, then login will be open. So that query string also in the server browser we give that, but with help of your get and post we do that, right? So we have to use that one same way, and then the keys it will pass. So and then you can your query string, that result will be given accordingly. Then as we talk about the HTTP, right? So as a HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, so hypertext protocol, already I have said you all that HTTP by default it will be establishing the TCP connection with the port 80, right? So this port 80 will wait for the request, and then it will respond in the fraction of second with all the information, header and other body information, whatever the content you are putting. So that will be given from the port 80 only. So that port 80 will be using your TCP connection for the HTTP protocol establishment. Okay, as I said, right, this is the users. The moment you request, so what you are requesting, some index.php domain name. So from which browser you are requesting. So whenever, one more thing, whenever you request any information to any server, so what browser you are using, okay, what version of browser is there, which operating system you are using, every information will be submitted into the server. So you can see that it will be used as a get method. So get method will submit the details, and the moment it receive into the web server will give the response. Okay, so you can see that HTTP 200, okay, 200 is the, like, you can see that sometime if you open the website you will be getting 404 error. That means that the website is not available. If it is 200, that means yes, it's available and the details is this, and the information will be received to the users. So this is your 200 meaning of 200. Okay, so as I said, right, web request. So whenever the user give the web request, the entire web page will be given response to the users. Okay, and this is not like you simply when you request it easily it happen. It goes through the entire process. Okay, and the content it will be visible, and then content will search on the particular server. Whatever you have used a CSS, that is a style sheet, you have image, a script, everything will be parsed into the HTML, and it will be submitted to the server, or it will be submitted to the users. That is your request. So as I said, right, the browser parsing HTML and making subsequent requests. So what happened? The users is submitting any request. So first is get, okay, vacation dot. It will go to the server, it will search, it will return. Okay, so if you are using CSS also, again CSS file should be get search, again it will load. If picture is there, again it will go get request, again it will load, and finally then only you are going to see all the result in the browser. It's not like that, okay, once you give the information automatically the request it will happen. Every content whatever you have used jQuery, you have used JavaScript, you have used images, whatever the GIF or graphical or video, for every the request the get method will be submitted, and again response will happen. Okay, then only the combination of all it will display on the browser, and you are seeing as in form of your HTML. The entire code you will be seeing in HTML. Okay, so your HTTP request method, as I said, right, so in HTTP request method you have few types, right? You can common request start, like you will be using get, post, put, head. So what are those get? So get means you are requesting a specific file or resource from the server. When you post, that means you are submitting the form, like any form whatever you are using, like you have you are entering your name, details, and you submit. So the moment you submit, it goes to the server. That means that moment it will use post method. Okay, so in the form when you use put, that means when you are uploading your photos, right, that means your content is getting uploaded on the server, that time you'll be giving as a put method. And when you use head, that means you are requesting information about a particular file from the server, but not the file content, only the file. Okay, so And other requests also is there, like delete, connect, trace. So other things are also there, which you can just go through that. Then you will be having more idea on this, what are the method can be used for the HTTP request. So this is the example for the get versus post. So what happened, this is the form is there, right? So you are entering in the form, right? You can see that in form we are using the code as a method is equal to post. That means you are submitting this artist, year and nationality to the server. And when you are using, you can see here I have used here a reference. That means just you are opening that URL. You are not submitting anything, just you are calling that information from the server. So that will be your get. So you can see here I have not used here get method. So directly it will be submitted. So this is the difference between your get and post. Okay. So the browser tools for HTTP, you can use anything. Okay. So you can just use in your browser, and there is the developer option, even you can trace more. Okay. And any browser now, every browser will be having the inbuilt developer option. You can just get to know about the more details, you will get to know that. And regarding the web server, so web server is your fundamental level. Okay. So what you are going to do there, that means your request you are going to receive from the client. When you request, you are going to transfer the response you are going to give. Okay. So web stack is nothing, regardless of your physical characteristic of server. One must choose an application stack to run. That means you are going to run the website on which platform, that you have to decide, right? So that is very challenging, that you are going to develop on ASP.NET, or you are going to develop on PHP, or you are going to develop on normal HTML. So what kind of the things is there that you have to put in the stack? That means you have to put in the web server software, whatever the database you are using, everything you have to use there. Okay. And everyone you know about the LAMP. It's a very useful software. If you are not able to make dual boot operating system, or you don't want to install Linux with help of VirtualBox or VMware, so you can use the LAMP, Linux, Apache, MySQL and PHP software. Okay, so this LAMP will be helpful for your running all this application, like your PHP website, normal HTML website. So web server side also you can use, like PHP you can use easily. Otherwise, if you use simple with Notepad, then it will not run the PHP scripting, only it will run HTML and CSS and jQuery. So you required one server, so that you can use LAMP. So this software is that, you know, the very way there is a software called WAMP, there is a software called XAMPP, XAMPP. Anything you can use and install on your machine. Okay. So WISA software. Okay, so these are all the software that you use for different purpose. Like if you want to develop on the MS SQL. Okay, so then you have to use IIS. You can use either IIS web server, or you can use this software stack also. So it will give the combination of everything, and you can develop the website on based on .NET platform. Okay, so this entire things whatever we talked, we have covered now. So if you have any question, thank you for watching. Thank you.